Hi, I'm Jim Nealon. I'm with the Sherborn Business Association. We're here this morning to talk with Rob Watkins and the Sherborn Wine Spirits here in the center of the north part of Sherborn Business District. The Sherborn Business Association has really threefold purposes to why we are around. The Sherborn Business Association wants to be a driving force in the Sherborn community so that we can serve the needs of the local businesses as well as the social needs of Sherborn. The second reason why the Sherborn Business Association is here is because we want to show our Sherborn neighbors what our local businesses can do for the community. And then the third reason why we are what we are is that we want to be a clearinghouse for information about local municipal laws, processes, and proposals. So that's why the Sherborn Business Association is here, and we conduct a series of interviews with local businesses. There are 40-something businesses in town. One of those businesses is the Sherborn Wine Spirits. Rob Watkins owns the business, and we're going to go see him now. So come along. So we're here in Sherborn Wine Spirits in the center of Sherborn, and we're going to meet with Rob Watkins. Rob, hi, good morning.
Good morning,
How are you?
Jim. How you doing there?
Jim Nealon, hi, good to see you.
Rob Watkins.
How have you been?
I've been doing very well, thanks.
Good. And how's the store?
The store's doing very well,
terrific.
too.
Looks great.
Yeah,
Looking
yeah.
good.
Beautiful day out there today.
It's a beautiful day, so
Yep.
just wanted to come by and say hi and see what you're up to and what you've got here. How long have you been in this location?
This location's since 06.
Since
2006. Since 1989, I was over on the other side of Sherborn, over by the Sitco station. And then I came here because of the parking, because on the right side of the road, and just a good opportunity to be in with all the other businesses in town.
And it's good location for you, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And a good space for you? I mean, do you have enough room?
Oh
here
yeah,
to do
yeah.
what
No,
you
this
want?
is good. This is great. It's worked out very well, and storage could always be a little bit more, but other than that, I'm doing fine.
Okay. Well, so you in this location you sell wine. Obviously, we see wine here.
Beer, liquor.
Wine here.
Yep.
We have beer in the back. We have liquor over here on the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
most of the spirits are in the back over here. Scotches and rums and vodkas and gins and whatnot, and whatever else you really are looking for. I hope I can carry it for you.
Why don't we start with the wine and see what you got in wine in this
Well,
aisle
it's kind
here.
of set it up in a regional type of thing. I've got the Italian reds and whites over here, and they got the French reds and whites over here. And you got some very, very nice ones at one end, some awesome ones down in here that are just a little bit more affordable. The 09 vintage out of France is a very strong one, so it's not hard to pick out a nice wine right now. If you go anything 09, you're in the money, you're going to do just fine.
So year makes
Find
a
your
big
price point.
Year makes a big difference in the wines.
Absolutely, one year to the next, especially in a place like France. France is very volatile, their weather patterns and whatnot. I'm not hearing good things about 2012 because they've gotten a lot of rain, and this is the time of year that they're doing the harvest. So they're not happy about that. The 09s, the previous awesome vintage was 05, the one before that was 00.
So help me understand, if it rains in France and it arrives here, then it's not so good.
Well, right, well, what they do is when there's a lot of rain or bad weather when they're doing the harvest, the wines will be fat. They'll not be as...
Fat, I'm fat. What do you mean by fat? I don't understand.
They get watery. They get watery, they get lighter, they get harder to deal with. They like nice concentrated wines. The wine stocks or the wine vines themselves love rocks and dirt and not much of anything, very little water. That's why you see them on the slopes. And you
sounds
see
like some kids I know love rocks.
Yeah,
and dirt.
exactly. The worst land is the best land for growing wine. And that's why the vineyards start at the top of the best wines generally, because all the water flows away from them. So they get very, very concentrated as far as their ability to be a very concentrated wine. So the
juice gets diluted with a lot of rain.
Yeah, rain is just going to fatten up the grapes. It's going to make a lot of wine. It's just not going to be the best wine.
So you have different vintages here. 2009 you said is a pretty
I've
good one.
got 06. Nice, very nice vintage. It's actually got 5-6 years in the bottle. That's actually very good for that particular wine there. The Rhone, this is an 07. The Northern Rhone is a very strong area for that particular year, and Chateauneuf de Pops are wonderful wines from there, so the 07s are the strongest vintages there now.
And are you finding certain fads like Rhones are in this year and Cabernet Sauvignons are next year? And,
there's always some places that are hot because they are they've had a spectacular vintage. So you will find them to be in fashion, but Bordeaux's themselves, people tend to trend toward the same style wine that they like. If they like a Cabernet-based wine, they're going to stay with that. From a town like Saint-Emilion or from Lalande de Pomerol, they're all Merlot-based, so nice and soft and easy to drink. And they'll have a little Cabernet cut into them, but not a great deal of everything else. Even though there's usually 5 Bordeaux-style grapes that are used in all the different bottlings: Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Petit Verdot, as well as the Merlot and Cabernet.
So it sounds like you know a lot about your subject.
Yeah, I've been over to
fair?
France a couple of times. And,
Yeah,
you know, a lot of tastings, a lot of classes, and a lot of enjoyable wine times in this town. I mean, this town's a very good wine town, and they come in, they ask for different wines from different spots. It's not all California or all just one area. So, you know, it gives me a chance to go out and get different wines from different parts of the world that I find interesting, but also that the public finds interesting. They're saying, I've heard about this, can you go get it for me?
So I come in and I have a dinner tonight that I'm going to. I want to take a nice bottle of wine to the folks for the dinner, or maybe as a gift.
Yeah.
And I'm bewildered. Can you help me out here? You know, there are wines,
Well, let's say that's
there are
like
wines,
a lamb dinner.
Okay.
Lamb's a nice soft red meat versus a big, tough, robust New York sirloin. So the sirloin would like a nice, robust, heavier wine, and that would be your Malbec or your Cabernet Sauvignon. Merlot, nice and soft. It's just like the lamb meat itself. So it goes much better with a lamb dish, is that softer red. Now, if you're going to have red wine with fish because you just love your red wine, you're going to go to something as light and as elegant as you can find, and that's going to be more along the Pinot Noir lines. You know, the lightest of the reds are the Beaujolais from France. They're the ones that are released. November 15th is the Nouveau. Most people are familiar with that, and they're made to drink.
That's Beaujolais that's coming out.
Yeah, Beaujolais is in a little area of France that produces Gamay as the grape. Beaujolais is what they're called, but they have Beaujolais villages, and Bruley is a little town inside the Beaujolais. It's kind of like Middlesex County. Middlesex County being the Beaujolais, Sherborn being the Bruley, and Salt and Salt's Farm being George DeBuff's.
Did I hear right that there are airplanes that come over from France with some Beaujolais early shipments, and
that used to be very big in the 70s, and any Donald Trump used to get all excited about that.
Trump
It was the first one to get over there.
Yeah.
But they get released November 15th. And you can get them by either air, which means they're flying them right in. They'll be here right on November 15th, or they come by boat and they'll be here probably within a week later.
And what do you get here?
I get both. I get the air immediately, mostly because I know that I'll get it before Thanksgiving. It's a harvest wine. It's on the vines in September. It's balled in October, and it's here in the States in November. So harvest wine for Thanksgiving is it's a nice thing to have on the table.
So I'm Donald Trump for just a moment. I'm Donald Trump. Why would I be interested in Beaujolais?
You know, it's a 2012 coming out now, so maybe you just want to be the first one to have the first 2012
because I'm
season.
Donald Trump.
Because I'm Donald Trump and I can.
Yeah.
You know, so you do something like that. But a lot of people were just getting into it, and the Beaujolais were very consistent back when it was very big. Now you have the same variation in the weather patterns and whatnot, that sometimes they're not quite up to snuff. But they are the type of wine to drink within the first year. It's a misnomer thinking that they're going to fall apart after January 1st. But they are best because they're fruit forward, and that fruit will die down, and the fruit is what you're looking for in that particular wine.
So I'm coming in, I'm going to a dinner tonight. I understand that whites go with seafood and reds go with meat. Is that true?
You're doing very good.
That's right?
Yeah, that's about right. That's right.
Did I read that right?
Certain whites do a little bit better with certain styles of seafood. If you've got a steak style fish, say a swordfish, halibut, something like that there, then you're going to want a Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blancs match up real well where the shellfish, the lobsters, and the scallops, Chardonnay base type of wine will go very well with that, especially a buttery one, and there are definitely distinctly buttery ones with Chardonnay than the oakier style that you'll find with a lot of Chardonnay, especially from California.
And your price list runs from where to where?
Well, from $6, $7, $8 up to $100. You know,
Okay.
whatever you can get, you can gam it all over the place. There are different wines from different regions that all warrant that extra buck, you know. But, and they're also long-term wines. Most wines are made to drink in the first 1 to 3 years, but 3 to 5 for reds, certainly not out of the questions, but some of the reds, and only 10% of those, some of the reds, are, you know, really made for long-term 25, 30-year type of longevity. There's no rush to them. They're built to last, and if they're taken care of well, they'll do well. And 55 degrees in a cellar or any type of cool environment would be the ideal temperature to keep them. But it fluctuates between 45 and 65, not a big deal. But most people's houses are at 68, 70, and when they have the heat on, and that's actually very good for the reds to open up at that temperature. So if it's the middle of summer and you're having a red, it's almost better to chill it to get it down to that 68, because they'll show just better at around that 68. That's the ideal.
And whites
consuming. The whites, obviously you're gonna cool them off, but you really don't want them in a bucket of ice like you get maybe in a restaurant, because that closes them up. It just doesn't allow them to open up and become more user friendly, and you pick up all the nuances.
What do you mean by opening up?
Well, when the wines get out into the oxygen or into your glass or whatever, they have a chance to breathe. Now,
I see this.
Yeah, you know, the people do that.
Stuff,
they do it actually for a reason. You're mixing with oxygen, you're aging the wines. So what you're doing is you just, a lot of the tannins in the reds are dissipating into the air so that astringent taste doesn't show up. You're aging the wine, and they age gracefully in the bottles, but when you're out in a restaurant, you're going to want to have the wine ASAP. So having it in the glass and spinning it, I call it cooking it, it's doing the wines a lot of favor. Sometimes taking a wine, pouring it into a pitcher and back out is a good thing too.
If I go to the Sherborn Inn and I have a nice wine over there, and I find that I really want to stock that in my cellar, can I come to you and
absolutely.
I got a case of it? I want more than a bottle.
The beauty of a store like this is that I'm here almost all the time, and if there's something that I don't have or something that you discover in a restaurant like that, come on by. I'll be happy to find it. If it's available in Massachusetts, and obviously the Sherborn Inn, anything they can get, I'd probably be able to get. But wines from all over the world, you could be traveling, and you want to see if it's available here in Massachusetts, I can go out and get it. You know, specifically to vintages. Some of them have many vintages to choose from, others do not, and you're going to get the current vintage. And a lot of times that current vintage may not be ready for consuming immediately. So that's kind of, you know, I'll help you out with that as far as.
Okay. So these are the wines. You said that I didn't say anything. You said that you have liquor. You have beer. Let's go take a look.
Oh, we got champagnes and everything over here, and above that I have a lot of the ryes and the scotches. These are more of the well-known scotches, the Doors and the Red Ale, but a lot of the single malts.
Okay. Let's go take a look. So Rob, you have plenty of wines here, but some special wine here with the champagne category. Tell me about
a lot of people, all times of year, can come in looking for that special bottle of champagne, or some people just like to consume it on a regular basis. You have the Brutes and the Proseccos, which are both doing very, very well. They come from different parts of the world. The Brutes, the driest. Then extra dry is actually a semi-sweet.
What do you mean by dry?
Well, how dry the wine is, well,
20-something ounces in there. It's all wet. Tell me what you mean by dry.
Yeah, it's how much sugar content that's available in the particular wine. And the Brutes signifies that it's going to be the driest of the wine, so it's less sugar. It's not quite as sweet. And an extra dry is actually sweeter than a Brut. And that goes back to the King Louis of France, and King Louis XIV just wanted his to be the driest over King Louis XIII, and so he insisted his being called extra dry, but in reality it was sweet and nobody argued. So that kind of stayed that way. He was the king. He can do what he wants. And then you do have the wines from France, from Champagne, France, and those are the ones that are designated as true champagnes. And you've got the Dom Perignons, which is the extra special Moet Chandon. You got La Grande Dame, which is the extra special Veuve Clicquot.
I'm a little confused here. This one, maybe I'm in the wrong category. This one here, if I pick this up and call this a champagne, I can't call this a champagne.
No,
Can
you
I call this a champagne?
It's sparkling wine.
Sparkling wine.
Champagne has to come from Champagne, France. They fought over that for a while, and the The truism is that you can call something California champagne, but you can't call it champagne because that is your little area of France that produces nothing but champagne and some of the finest wines in the world.
So how are the qualities of the California
Some of them are
champagne
very good,
compared to the champagne? The
I
French
think
champagne?
that a lot of them are very, very good. Something like Chandon is an American champagne, but it's made by the people from Away Chandon that come over from France and actually bottle the wine and put their own finishing touches on it. So you got the real solid wine making. It's just that the conditions of the soils and everything is just going to make it different than the ones from Champagne.
Presumably a price difference.
Exactly, and
between
there's a definitive price difference, but they're still very popular all year round because special occasions happen all the time, whether it's from graduations to marriages, first kids, jobs, whatever. So there's plenty of reasons to come in and get some champagnes, and hopefully I fill the bill with the different ones I have here, but I'm happy to go out and get anything that's available in Massachusetts. If you're looking for it, happy to get it.
So it sounds like I could come in and get a champagne not only for a special occasion but for everyday enjoyment.
Some people are very much into their champagnes. It's their wine of choice, and it's really nice at brunch too. So because some of them can have a little less alcohol to them, so they go very well with your waffles, whatever. So you can.
I hear also a special way of opening champagnes, like popping a cork or not popping a cork. Can you tell me?
Most of them are all corked and
under pressure.
Yeah, they're under pressure.
So I want to get out and I just want to pop it.
You don't want to aim it at anybody like you're doing. So, but what you do want to do is just put a towel over the top of it and just kind of ease it out of the bottle.
Why do I want to do that?
Because it will take off. It can be very powerful. You don't know how much CO2 has been built up in there. And if you're going to shake it up like some people like to do, especially if you see in the sporting events, they may shake up their champagne and then let it really.
That's when they really want to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Okay. So let's go and look at your liquors over this way.
Well, I got liquors mostly in the back wall here. As I said, I got some of the regular everyday scotches over here, but a lot of the single malts, a lot of people have a lot of interest in. And you can find different ages and different ways of they distill them. Some of this double wood here is aged in sherry oak and in a regular whiskey oak cask. So it's called double wood, so they draw out a little bit more of the sweetness when it gets into the old sherry cask from Spain.
When you say single malts, where are they from?
Well, they're all Scotland.
Scotland.
And there's 5 single malt areas that are used, Highland, Lowlands, or whatnot. So, and there will be Islay, which is something like Lagavulin. You almost have to bite it. I mean, it's got that real smoky, seaweedy, very acquired taste type of Scotch. It's not for the novice Scotch drinker. Just go, let me have some Lagavulin. You're gonna have a hard time with it. But there's a lot of nice, easier drinking ones that are a little bit lighter. The Highland malts tend to be a little bit on the sweeter side. Then you got some well-aged 30-year-olds like Johnny Walker's Blue Label.
Oh, what's this? I hear something special
Yeah,
about the Blue
well,
Label. What's the story on the
There's
Blue?
a lot of special scotches out there, but this one here seems to be the one that people will gravitate to first because it's 30 years old and it's a blend, so it's a bunch of different casks that they're blending, and then the Scotch maker puts together his blend for the Johnny Walker Blue Label. You can see the 12s and 15-year-olds. These are nice. They'll get a lot of color.
But I heard of black and green, and what's the
well,
deal
yeah,
with
they
black,
start.
blue, green,
They have
yellow,
the
red,
the black, then they go to a green, a gold, and then they have the blue.
They have a yellow and an orange and a.
Yeah, not
maybe
really.
Not.
Yeah, but each one's aged a little bit more, so they each have a little bit more character, a little depthness of color, and smoother because it's been aged that much longer.
So these are your babies right here, your special ones.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
exactly.
Then you have over here.
You got lots of rum to choose from, and rums become very popular, different drinks and whatnot. Tequilas, hot as a pistol, and all sorts of different tequilas.
So how many tequilas are there in the world?
Oh, there's probably a couple of hundred that are available here in Massachusetts, in the world. No idea, but I bet you it's double that.
But why do I want one over the other? What are the differences?
Well, they have in Yeho, which is their top shelf. It's a well-aged tequila, usually 5 years or more. They have actually a silver tequila, which is also very popular style of tequila. That'll be used more in the margaritas or whatnot.
So some are for mixing and some are for...
Yeah, exactly. Cuervo's more of a mixing. It's more of a generic tequila. They actually may even add a little coloring to it to give it that extra gold color that the natural aging process would happen with some of these other gold tequilas there. It's still a fine product and does very well.
So your tequilas are hot. What else is really hot? You know.
Well, I'll tell you, the single batch rums, and this year the single batch gins. These are specialty gins. This one's from Maine, Cold River from Maine. This one here is actually from Ireland. It's an island, so it's got a lot of depthness and character. And Greylock's a very popular one too.
So I wouldn't do this with a gin and tonic. This is
no. And this one here has got the cucumber and the rose petals, Hendrick's gin. Yeah, so they're very distinct. When you add the tonic water, you naturally taking away what makes them separated from the regular gins.
So I hear sometimes you put nothing in a glass. Sometimes you put one drop, one distilled drop of water.
Yeah.
Another time I hear more.
Well, maybe with
ice. I hear what?
Missy. Well, neat is the best way to have the higher end scotches or gins even. You get what the true character of that particular product is. When you put in the water or even the ice cubes, you're watering it down. You're changing what the distillery was intending with the product itself. There's lots of flavors in all the vodkas. You can see citron, pear, cherry, whipped, gummy, and you like a gumdrop type of vodka. So vodkas really have branched out. Martinis have made a huge comeback, and they are very stylistic. To different restaurants will set things up and do things, their own way with their own drinks, their own signature drinks, so to speak. So you've got to kind of cover the bases. I do have the Skinny Girl line too. So these are the pre-mix type stuff that a lot of people do enjoy because it's all put together for you.
Margarita, pina colada, sangria,
Cosmo.
Okay. So on a hot summer day, I would enjoy. Sounds like I would enjoy a white cranberry.
Yeah.
But on a hot summer day, I'd also perhaps enjoy beer. And I see you have some beers over here.
Yeah. Well, being a good wine town has to be a good beer town too. So.
Tell me about what you have in beer and why you have it and what sells.
Well, I'll tell you.
Run down on your beer.
The Budweiser area is still a very popular area, but the microbreweries have really come on in the last 15 to 20 years. Stylistically, they're more of a beer craftsman's way of putting together the beer. There's certainly the seasonal beers, the Oktoberfest. I've got here a cranberry ale, a lot of from Harpoon. Pumpkin ales have become very popular. Everybody loves that shipyard package. The beer is pretty good too. And then you have ciders, and ciders will also come hot as a so I got a ginger one here. I used to have a pumpkin one, but that's sold out. Angry Orchards made by Sam Adams. There's a blackberry pear. The real deal Oktoberfest. And we're just starting to get into the stout time of year, so the Oktoberfest will be disappearing and the black and tans and the different stouts will be appearing probably shortly right after Thanksgiving.
And the beer selections are part of your Brewfest participation?
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun over there at the end. Did that last year, and I sponsored the table, and helped solicit some of the brew craftsmen to come by and share their products with us. It was a real enjoyable evening, and it's something I look forward to do again next year too.
So how about local breweries? What's involved with?
Well, I'll tell you, this
guys?
one here, Jack Abbey, is right here in Framingham. It's kind of new and hot off the press, and I just discovered it at that brew fest. That was not something that was available in the stores. I had heard about it. I think you could get it a few places in Framingham, but they're coming on hot and strong as far as a local one. Nantucket last year really picked up the pace. There's Whale's Hill Pale Ale, Cisco Breweries out of Nantucket is a very popular staple item. You've got certainly the Sam Adams and the Harpoons and some of the other ones that are contributed to the local lore of beer brewing in Boston.
So you've told me that you do tastings here on Friday afternoons?
Yeah, during the summertime I'll do some beer tastings, but during the this time of year through the end of the year I'll do a number of wine tastings, and I'll hold them on Friday evening. And I usually let either something hot that's just come on the market or something like that is what I'll pick to pick. But when people come in and they're looking, they'll help me pick out what we're looking for. What are you looking for? And we'll open up almost anything that they point their finger at. within reason, but almost anything. Yeah, yeah. It's got to be something that I have a few bottles of. So.
Well, let's go take a look at your tastings. So, Rob, in this area of your store, tell me what you have over here?
Well, this is my wine tasting area. It's kind of a fun little time when you come in on Friday afternoon. A few glasses will be out here, and we'll pour some wine. But I just threw out a few things here that I like to feature. This is the local set of liquors made by the local boys, the Willises, here in Sherborn, and it's really the only distilled whiskey and rum that they have out of Boston.
Three kinds.
They got three. They got a white whiskey, which is very interesting, and there's almost a moonshine, and then they got a white rum, and they got a vodka, and the dark whiskey or the aged whiskey will probably be out April of next year, along with a darker rum too. And this because it's this time of year. These are Dan Aykroyd's little toy, but they're his Crystal Skull vodka. It's actually very nice vodka, and his claim that is the exact replica of a human skull as far as proportions and everything else is something that I find interesting for this time of year.
I don't know. Is that about right?
Well, not size-wise, but all
size-wise.
With everything else about it. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they went right after.
All right. What do you have? What's this one?
Well, that there is put out by Sam Adams, and it only comes out once a year. This is 10th anniversary of Utopia. Now, Utopia is a 24-ounce beer.
Oh,
and
that's like a liqueur.
That's all it is. Yeah, it is more of a liqueur because it is 27% alcohol, which is very high for a beer. But they take a good deal of craftsmanship to make that Utopia every year, and they're very proud of it. There's very limited amount around of it.
There's got to be a story behind this tree.
Well, I was in France when I stumbled across that wine vine that was available to ship to the United States. So I picked that up out of Alsace. It actually used to hold Gewürztraminer grapes in the Alsatian area of France, and I think it makes a very nice little glass holder there.
So here's where I'd come in for Friday afternoon. Is that right? What time?
Sure.
What time Friday afternoon?
If you came in at 4, I'd be here at 4. So it's 5 to 7 is usually the ideal time, and but come in at 4. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I got the cold wine all ready to go, and I got some red wines I'll be very willing to open up to.
And I understand you have specials on your wines. If I buy some,
there's a number of different styles. Specials. I have a lot of 3-fers where you save a couple dollars a bottle on the wines that I'm featuring throughout the store. You can do just a simple mix and match where you can purchase 6 bottles at regular price, and the 7th bottle is only $1. So, people like that because you don't have to buy too much wine, but you can mix and match large sizes, small sizes, any wines you want in the store, and it's a user-friendly type of wine buying if you want to stock up on more than just a couple bottles.
And so what hours are you open?
10 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, Monday through Saturday, and then 12 to 5 on Sundays.
Okay, and do you have a website?
And I have a website. It's a work in progress thing, and it's
all websites I think are work in progress.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the name of your website?
Sherborn Wine.
Sherborn Wine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
.com.
.com. Yeah, I leave off the spirits just to make it a little.
Sherborn Wine. One word.
Wine is what I feature. This has been a very good wine town, and it's 55-60% of my sales are all wine. So, and that's a little bit backwards from a lot of other liquor stores that will have 40% beer. This town is not beer driven. It's craft beer driven, but it's not the 30-pack driven type of spot because of the housing here. I don't think they have any 21 to 35-year-olds living in town. They all move out of mommy's house or daddy's house, and they come back when they're 35 and owning a piece of property.
So specialty beers have a good place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And nice wines have a good place.
You got dessert wines, you got ports, you got some of these real high-end type stuff. I mean, there's a 61 Latour there that, out of the different vintages out of Bordeaux in the 20th century, the 1900, the 1929, the 1945, and the 1961 were by far the strongest. And that bottle of wine was considered the #1 out of that particular vintage, and was considered the #1 wine, according to an awful lot of sources, of the whole century. So a lot of wine was made last century, but that one there is the the number one.
Sounds like a great place to come for
Well, it's
wine,
fun.
beer,
People,
and
people like
liquor.
coming to liquor
Yeah,
stores and
that's
hanging
terrific.
out. And they all have a smile on their face, and hopefully that continues as they leave.
I have a suggestion. Let's hang out and have a wine tasting right now. How about that?
No,
Does that
a
work for
little
you?
early for me, but
Little early?
I'd be happy to
Nah,
open
we'll
up
wait.
for you.
We'll come back a little bit later
All
on.
right.
Okay,
Very
good,
good.
Rob.
Thank you.
Thanks
Very
very
good.
much. Appreciate it.
Good.